What's up guys? My name is Brandon. Welcome to Quick Flicks. Today, we are following up on 2019's Escape Room with the nicely done sequel, Escape Room Tournament of Champions, directed by Adam Robitel, releasing in 2021. Fun fact, there are actually two different versions of Escape Room, both of which have completely different beginnings and completely different endings. So today we're going to be covering the extended cut. However, I plan to release another video covering the theatrical version sometime soon. Anyway, let's stop wasting time and pick up where we left off with some fun escaping. The movie opens up with a nice little recap of the first film. We then transition into a flashback scene in 2003. A taxi pulls up to a fancy mansion, a woman named Sonia and her daughter Claire getting out and walking on in. Claire asks to see Dad, but Sonia suggests not, as he's extremely busy with work, as per usual. She walks in and we see the dad, who is a game master for Minos, with prototypes of escape rooms all over his office. He seems to be quite busy, but she tells him that she's done, and can't continue on with this relationship style any longer, as he never has time for them. He tells her to go take a swim and clear her mind, and they'll chat about it in about an hour. After some nice relaxation in the pool, she goes to their sauna. However, the doors lock, and the temperature quickly starts rising. A message appears on the door from all that steam, giving her a clue. She digs through the sauna heater, eventually finding a stone that stands out. She opens it, finding a magnet inside. She uses it to slide open the metal bars that are locking the door. She manages to get two, but unfortunately fades away on the final one and dies from extreme heat temperatures. We then transition into the present, which is the end of the first film, with Minos testing the plane escape room designed for Zoe and Ben. We see that the mysterious man is the husband. He goes down into the basement to retrieve a flash drive containing some escape room blueprints from his daughter that he keeps locked in a cage. Aw, sad. Later in the day, we catch back up with Zoe and Ben, who were at the airport, ready to fly off to Manhattan and expose Minos. However, Zoe is experiencing some PTSD from when her mom died in a plane crash a few years prior and refuses to get on the flight at the last second. Ooh, they just dodged a bullet. They agree to go ahead and drive there instead. After some hours of cruising, they stop for the night and grab a hotel. They both get up to go to the restroom at the same time, creating some cute tension. I like these two. Ben gives Zoe the go-ahead and lays back down, only to hear some weird noises outside, grabbing his attention. The room suddenly starts shaking, and Zoe yells that the door is locked. The ceiling slowly starts coming down, freaking Ben out. Not knowing what the frick to do, the ceiling eventually reaches him, crushing him to death, and the movie ends. Nah, could you imagine? He wakes up from the nightmare, with Zoe quickly coming to the rescue. They decide that's enough sleep for the night, and head on out. They eventually reach their coordinates of the supposed Minos facility, but it doesn't look like much is going on here. After searching around for a bit, a homeless guy warns them of the dangers of this place, but still offers help getting inside in exchange for a bit of cash. Their car alarm going off grabs their attention long enough for the homeless guy to grab their keys and jet out of there. We get a neat little chase sequence that leads all the way to the subway and onto a train. The homeless guy outsmarts them, getting off the train cart just in time. Realizing he's out of reach, they catch their breath and have a sit down. While Zoe investigates some weird train noises, Ben notices an advertisement with a misspelling. They both go to the conductor booth to see that there's no train conductor. Their train cart then suddenly breaks away from the rest of the train and goes down an alternate path into an abandoned station. Everybody starts freaking out after the realization of the situation and try everything they can to help, but with no cell phone service and faulty emergency brakes, they're in a bit of a pickle. The train comes to a crashing stop. Everyone gathers themselves and tries figuring out what the heck is going on. Theo, a boxer who just wants to get home for his wife's birthday, presses a button for assistance, only to get a pre-recorded message for train passengers. Ben quickly realizes Minos is responsible for this, but Zoe isn't the only one who knows what that means. Everybody shares their experiences going through the escape rooms, and how each of them were the sole survivors. I guess you could say.
So that makes this what? Tournament of Champions?
He said it! He said it!
We meet everyone in the crew, a priest, Nathan, an influencer, Brianna, an EMT, Rachel, and of course, Theo, the boxer, as previously mentioned. With a whole bunch of Teslas popping out from the roof of the train cart and shooting electricity everywhere, I'd say it's about time to start looking for some clues, huh? Brianna presses the assistance button to hear the message once again. Nathan picks apart the sentence, specifically about a suspicious package, and finds a random bag under a seat. Inside contains a towel and a metal handle. Splitting up to see what they can use it on, Brianna finds a way out, one step closer. Theo suggests that they use the handle in the conductor booth, as the pre-recorded message stated to report anything suspicious to the nearest MDA employee. He gets a little boo-boo trying, but quickly realizes that he has a leather belt, which is an insulator, thus opening the door. Inside is an old subway token slot machine, and a sign that says, "All false advertising must be pulled." Ben remembers the misspelling on the advertisement from earlier, and the group quickly finds more errors on various ads. Zoe then realizes there's 26 handles, similar to the 26 letters in the alphabet. They decide to attempt pulling the corresponding handles to each letter that's missing from the ads, which actually seems to work, giving the group a token for every correct handle pulled, and slowly decoding a message on an electric sign. After obtaining about half of the 9 tokens needed, the train cart starts having a full electric meltdown, and things get cray, only needing 3 more. Theo finds the last missing letters, but unfortunately gets electrocuted before he can tell everyone, and dies. Aww, sad. Zoe, looking at the message, decodes it to be "Welcome back," and tells everyone, getting the last tokens needed. Opening the escape route, everyone crawls on in, getting the flip out of there, and falling into an elevator. In the elevator, they take time to find out a bit more about each other. Nathan, being a priest, was in an escape room with 5 other priests, and the idea was to see if faith would help them survive. Pretty messed up. Brianna, being a social media influencer, was in a themed escape room of exploding mirrors. With the elevator starting to shake, they realize it's time to move on, and into the next room, which is a bank, with the vault wide open. No way it's that easy though. Of course, burning lasers shoot around everywhere. When Brianna steps on a certain tile, they realize they need to find the correct pattern through the tiles to get to the bank vault. Rushing to find clues due to a 10-minute timer before the room goes up in lasers, they find a key inside of a lollipop. This key is used to open 2 safety deposit boxes labeled Sonia, who, if you remember, that's the name of the mom from the beginning. One containing blank bills, and the other with razor-sharp diamonds. Zoe, accidentally cutting herself on one, uses her blood on the blank bills to reveal a 4-digit PIN code that Nathan enters into the ATM machine. The ATM machine prints a receipt, which is another clue, leading them to the clocks. The clock's time somewhat reveals the pattern to get to the other side. Nathan grabs a stack of lollipops, leaving a trail behind him for the others to follow. He eventually steps on the wrong tile, the lasers going off and causing him to lose balance and knock himself out. The ladies get him off the tile, deactivating the lasers momentarily. With only 1 minute left, Zoe finds a chart with the remaining pattern, the group following and getting out. Zoe then makes a run for it as the lasers start going off, barely making it in time. That room is honestly a lot of fun, and it definitely makes the viewer pretty anxious while watching it. They head into the next room, which is probably the most memorable one in the film. A nice looking beach that turns into a photo once Brianna takes a photo with the camera that she found laying in the sand. That was a little redundant. Fun fact, they actually used 11 tons of sand to create this escape room. The back of the photo gives them a clue, leading to them finding a metal detector and some shovels. They use the metal detector until they find a reactive spot and start digging. They eventually reach an anchor, but the sand turns into very quick sinking sand, sucking in Rachel. But Nathan plays hero and ties a rope around himself, diving in and grabbing Rachel, the crew pulling her out to safety. Nathan doesn't get so lucky though, as the rope snaps and sinks to his death. The entire beach seems to be all sorts of Hecate, so the group heads to a beach hut, using the anchor as a key to get access to the inside. They find a fridge that needs to be plugged in, believing it could be an exit, and a switch on a miniature lighthouse. They flip it, switching the time of day to night, and activating the lighthouse outside. Zoe heads to the top of the lighthouse to find a clue that leads Ben to a mannequin with seashells covering her eyes. Although she's sinking, he manages to remove one of the shells, and finds the cable head needed for the fridge. He heads back to the hut, giving it to the ladies. They plug it in, opening the fridge, leading to an exit. However, Zoe found a tool in the telescope that allowed her to pry off the moon's frame. She believes this will allow them to escape the entire game. With the entire beach sinking, the group goes back and forth about which way they should go. Ultimately, Rachel and Ben head for the lighthouse, and Brianna gets stuck in the hut. She's forced to go through the fridge, while Rachel and Ben climb the lighthouse. Unfortunately for Ben though, the handles start closing in, crushing his fingers and falling into the quicksand. Zoe is in a bit of shock, but is forced to move on anyway. They make it to the tunnel, but Zoe, being traumatized, has a sit down and doesn't really feel like moving on. Rachel comforts her and informs her how she can't feel any pain. We finally find out her prior escape rooms were themed around torturing her. She believes they need to move on in order to stop Minos from torturing more people. This is enough motivation to get Zoe moving again. They find a ladder that leads to the streets of New York, and they finally did it, everyone.
I don't understand.
We're still in the game.
Since Brianna has been there for a little bit, she informs them that it rains acid when the timer goes to 0. Looking for clues, Brianna climbs a fire escape and finds a key. They use this key to open a rolling shutter in front of a pawn shop. The front door seemed to be locked though, as the timer runs out, but luckily for them, an awning pops out to protect them. They hear the phone booth ringing, but can't get inside due to another lock. However, a news broadcast playing on a TV in the pawn shop gives them another clue to collect rainwater. Rachel finds a ketchup bottle made of polymethylpentene, aka making it acid proof, and sets it out in the street to collect rainwater, while the ladies hide under another awning. Once the rain stops, they use the bottle to melt the lock on the phone booth. They get inside, but hear nothing on the phone. However, Zoe notices an ad leading her to the taxi. With the timer running back down to 0 again, Rachel throws her an umbrella, while the other two hide in the phone booth. During the shower, Zoe notices an ad at the pawn shop that mentions 3 rings. She tells them to answer the phone on the 3rd ring, and when they do it, it opens the taxi door. Zoe immediately runs in, but when the others try, the door shuts and locks, along with the phone booth. Unfortunately for them, they die in the rain. Zoe, on the other hand, falls into a chute in the back seat. She awakes in front of the daughter from the beginning, Claire. Zoe notices a box of items, which are from all of the escape rooms. She finds out these are all related to Claire, and notices the blueprints to the train escape room behind her. Figuring out that Claire designed all the rooms, she doesn't really trust her. However, Claire gains her trust by saying that she was forced to create these, and showing that Ben is still alive. Although some buff dudes walk in and throw him into the final game, which is actually the sauna from the beginning. This was not part of the plan though. Zoe asks Claire to save him, but she informs him that she can only do that if she's let out of the cage. In order to do so, they must solve another puzzle. Zoe helps her out, decoding the puzzle on the wall, which gives them the code to open the door. She runs out to see her friend that was helping her behind the scenes, shot in the tummy. Her dad then comes out with a gun, but her buddy on the ground shoots him before he can cause any more harm. Claire locks him in the box, and runs upstairs to access his computer to save Ben. Shouldn't he already know the code to this box? I mean, he made it. Couldn't he literally just open the door right now himself? I don't know. They get to his computer and override the system at the last moment, saving Ben. Claire informs Zoe that she and Ben do indeed have the correct coordinates to the Minos facility, and gives her the keys to her dad's car to go bust it with the police. Zoe heads on out, while Claire gives her a weird, stereotypical driving away stare. Zoe arrives at the Minos facility, with the police arresting everyone involved, stopping this entire operation. She finds Ben, who is going to be okay, and they ride away happily ever after in the ambulance. Let me tell you, the ending in the theatrical version is completely different than this. Claire heads back to the basement to confront her dad, where we find out she was the one who made the sauna escape room that killed her mom, and she was only trying to impress her dad. He took all of her work though, and was given credit as if it were his own. She doesn't like that very much, and tells him that she'll pick up where he left off, then entering a code that sucks all of the oxygen out of the box, presumably killing him, and the movie ends. Let me know what you guys thought of Escape Room Tournament of Champions. Was it better than the first? Did it even live up to the first? Let me know down below. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.